Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Tottenham versus Newcastle Premier League game week 20. First game of it, Watchalong. Let's have it. Looking forward to this. I think that there are some games that maybe don't have title connotations, but there are some games that just have watchability. And I think that Tottenham, for me, are that team where you know you're going to get goals. Newcastle are very good at the moment, arguably got the best midfield three in the league beyond Liverpool, I would say. I'm very much looking forward to this game. I think we're going to get a cracker. So very much welcome to That's Football. Thank you, everybody. Big shout out, everybody who campaigned for win, lose or draw to return. It returned with a bang yesterday. Robbie, AFTV, Goldbridge United stand. Clash of the Kings. We had the first episode yesterday. Get involved with that. Very much looking forward to getting Robbie in a Man United shirt in May when I absolutely beat him, because I saw off Ben Foster. It was too easy. And now moving on to another GOAT of the YouTube game. I'm going to dispatch Robbie by May in win, lose or draw. So yeah, welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. Team news is whizzing around the screen. Keep an eye on the snow this weekend. That's not a message to Paul Merson. This is a message to real snow, not hard drugs. And we're talking about a weather warning that's going to hit tonight. Now, Meme Football says Spurs team has been destroyed with injuries and sickness bug. What, is that the bug called being Spursy, which you've had for about 30 years? But no, I think it's an interesting game today, but we do need to keep an eye on snow, because the biggest game of the weekend is Man United's trip to Liverpool. It's going to absolutely chuck it down with snow, chuck it down with rain, piss it down with rain. Throw it down with snow from about 7 o'clock tonight in the UK. So I just think there's a 50-50 chance that that game will get postponed tomorrow. But we will get through this 3 o'clock games, and obviously Arsenal-Brighton I think will all be fine today. So we should get a good day of Premier League action. This could be Ange's last game today. It could be. It really, really could. So there we go. But look, Happy New Year to everybody. I know it's not our first watch-along of the year. We did that for a very good win for Arsenal against Brentford a couple of days ago. They're back in action at 5:30 today. I think that would be a great game. But I also think that David Ornstein is saying that Tottenham Hotspur set to complete the signing of goalkeeper Kinski from Slavia Prague today. 21-year-old. I mean, look, they need a goalkeeper straight away, don't they? So yeah, interesting in that sense, I suppose. What's this? Yeah, crap sauce on that one. But yeah, I think in the context of where we are at, it's 2025. I do like good conversations on That's Football. So if you've got any either ors, agony bridge questions, or just controversial opinions, I'm going to kick us off with a controversial opinion here. Some people might clip me up. I don't care, because I actually think, I'm just going to say this out loud, and I think that's going to be my pledge. I mean, I've pretty much been doing it for 10 years, but you know what? I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit. Say it as you see it in a respectful way. I think the world we live in at the moment, people are so scared to say things in case, you know, someone tries to cancel them or something like that. I'm just thinking, this community this year, let's say it how it is with respect. And I think that, I'm just going to say this, I turned TNT on at midday, made myself a cup of tea in the kitchen. We've got a telly in the kitchen. It was on. They were talking about the game. And whilst I'm making the tea, I'm not really listening. And it was Joe Hart and two females, a female presenter and I think an ex-female footballer. That was the three, right? And I'm listening, and I eventually just went to myself, this is shit. That's literally what I said to myself. I went, this is shit. I've been listening to 5 minutes, and you may as well played me the noise of a cow giving birth. And I took more notice. It was painfully crap. And it's got nothing to do with it being two females. I just don't know what their names are. I recognise Joe Hart. It's crap. It's so crap. And it's so reflective of everything these days. Everything. I think everything is just about ticking a box. all right, we've got to have this, and that's fine. But please, for the love of God, having just had Christmas, and I think Christmas is nostalgia, you get like Only Fools and Horses, you can watch a classic film like Home Alone, and you just go, why in 2025 is entertainment worse? Apart from this, why is entertainment worse? That's my statement I'm making. It's got nothing to do with sexism. It's got nothing to do with any other ism. It's to do with the fact I'm watching Joe Hart and two other people who I've got no interest in, who TNT probably think they're doing a great job. The antidote to this is, where's Les Ferdinand? Where's David Ginola? Are they playing golf? They both played for Spurs and Newcastle, and I'd be interested in what they've got to say in the build-up of a game. It would be entertaining. I am not interested in what Joe Hart's got to say about Spurs and Newcastle, and I'm not interested in what the other two people have got to say. It's boring. And I'm just going to bang this drum in 2025. We get no good sitcoms anymore. Music's generally shit. Most TV is shit. And most football analysis is shit. And the only reason for it is because most of the people in power in 2025 are obsessed with box ticking. We've got to appeal to everybody, and we've got to do it in a way that's really bland so that it's not controversial and it's not entertaining. You can be controversial, entertaining if you've got a high IQ. You can't put controversial idiots on who start saying stupid stuff like Joey Barton. You can't do that. But you can put controversial, entertaining people on TV if they've got a high IQ. Ricky Gervais. People who know that they can say things controversial without crossing the line. Basically what I just did for the last 5 minutes. I've just turned TNT on, Joe Hart, two females I don't know the name of, boring. Not because it's Joe Hart, not because it's two females, just boring. Get me David Ginola, get me Les Ferdinand. They've played both for both clubs, and I'd be interested to know what they think about Spurs at the moment. And I'm not massive on ex-players being on the TV, but what are they doing in the new year? Putting the Christmas tree in the loft? Come on! We need entertainment in 2025. That is what we need. The world is just so bloody bland. Oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. That's literally why me and Robbie were speaking a couple of weeks before Christmas, and I said to Robbie, look, he wanted to do something, I wanted to do something. Both built massive platforms on YouTube, and we were talking about stuff, and then it started to get a little bit like, well, you own this, I own that, how's it going to work? And I said, Robbie, at the end of the day, I'm not interested in DR Sports or AFTV, and you don't need to be interested in United Stand or That's Football. All I want to do is what the audience want. I just want to do a weekly bit of content with Robbie. I'm not interested in your channels or anything like that. I just want to do something with you because it will be entertaining. And I said, why don't we do one video on DR Sports and one video on That's Football? And we don't pay each other any money. We just go 10 minutes on yours, 10 minutes on mine, and we do some content. And he was like, this is a great idea. And that's why we did it. And it's so easy. And hopefully it'll be entertaining. But it's took us years to get to that point because there's just so much blood. It's the world we live in. It's so, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, they can't do that. And I just think, you know what, in 2025, say it how it is with respect and chase the entertainment angle. It's shocking what we get delivered, and it's even more shocking what the audience accepts as entertainment. It's crap. And it really hit me over Christmas how everything we watch is something from the past. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Slade on the radio, Only Fools and Horses. This is stuff that we absolutely should be replicating in 2025. Why aren't we making stuff anymore? It's stupid. So I'm just going to say it how it is, as I always have. And the coverage, have you ever watched on Channel 4 their coverage of England? It makes you want to quit football. It's crap. It's so crap. So welcome to the United. That's Football. We'll be saying how it is. There you go. Pez says Les Ferdinand's on Optus Sports right now. Mate, that's just off the top of my head. David Ginola, Les Ferdinand, played for both of these clubs. I'd be interested to know what they think. I'm not interested in what Joe Hart thinks. I really don't care. I've got no interest. I'd rather listen to expressions. I would. Do you see any shocks this weekend, says Matthew Lunn. Also, Happy New Year to you and your family, everyone. Look, I did my preview with Robbie yesterday, predicting the results. So we'll be doing that every week, hopefully. I think Brighton will get something out of Arsenal at 5:30. I think Crystal Palace will get something out of Chelsea at 3 o'clock. I can't remember what I predicted in this. I think Robbie went with a Newcastle win, and I think I went with a score draw, didn't I? So yeah, my two shocks I think this weekend will be Palace get something out of Chelsea and Brighton get something out of Arsenal. Yeah, that's what I think will happen. We will see. Any chance of a watch along with Mojo, says Marty92. I don't even know who bloody Mojo is. A legend, but I don't know who he is. Spurs signed a new goalkeeper, says Max. Yeah, this is coming in from David Ornstein. Don't know anything about this goalkeeper, but Antonin Kinski is his name, from Slavia Prague, and they'll certainly need that. I mean, look, one thing I haven't done, which I must apologise about, is I haven't given you the team news. I know it's whizzing round next to you, but Spurs are without a Dogie now for about 2 months, I think. So Austin in goal. I don't know what happened to Fraser Forster. Let us know. They've got Porro, Dragusin, Gray, Spence, Sarr, Bergvall, Kulusevski, Johnson, Werner, and Solanke. Son's on the bench. Maddison's on the bench. And Basuma's on the bench. Now, talk to me, Spurs fans. Why is Son and Basuma not starting for you today? Is that injury, illness? Let me know. Newcastle, Dubravka, Livramento, Botman, Byrne, Hall, Bruno G, Tonali, Joel Linton, Murphy, Isak, Gordon. Yeah, I think Newcastle probably do come into this game as favourites, if I'm being honest. Illness, a lot of illness going around. There is a lot of illness going down. Son's had a baby, says Donsky. If he's had a baby, I don't know what he's doing playing football. He's a medical miracle. So there we go. If Spurs lose this, I mean, I think we might get... here's a prediction. I think we might get a sacking on Monday morning. Lopetegui or Ange. If they both lose, one of them could go. Grumpy Old Heckler says, too many licence holders dilutes whole thing. It's all paint by numbers coverage. Very few quality opinions or insights why these communities exist, says Grumpy Old Hecklers. Look, mate. Through doing things like the football fill-in and talk sport and everything, you get to talk to a lot of ex-players, and I must have been told this at least 5 times over the last 3 years. There is a site. There is basically it's like a merry-go-round that ex-players can get on, and once you're on it, you might end up on TNT, CNN, whatever, Sky. But if you fall off it, they won't look at you anymore. And to get on it, you've got to play the game. And to get on it, you've got to be bland, you've got to be boring, and you've got to get on board with what they're doing. And they don't want to hear anything that's mildly controversial. You've got to get on, be respectful, and be bland. And that's, you're probably right with that. But it doesn't mean that we can't criticise it. I'm just doing it in the name of entertainment. I think it's bloody boring. Really boring. Bike, thank you very much. Newcastle are about to feast here, says Support Stick. Well, have we got the league table? Because that's something I did want to have a look at very, very quickly. Hopefully I can do it in time before the game kicks off. So let's have a look at that. Spurs obviously don't feature in the top half of the table. They are in a very bad position at the moment. Not as bad as Manchester United, but they are in 11th place with 24 points. Even a win for Spurs would take them up to 10th because they've got a better goal difference than Brighton. But that's the limit for them today. With regards to Newcastle, a win for them would put them into a very, very healthy joint fourth with Chelsea. They're unlikely to go ahead of Chelsea because Chelsea's goal difference is better, but it would certainly put them into a very healthy joint fourth in their quest for Champions League football. which would be the second year out of 3. And 5th place could get you Champions League football as well. But Man City are probably going to beat West Ham, so Newcastle winning today would be a big result for them. We're up and running. Here we go. I am just going to drop in, if we get any either-ors, do let me know, but I am just going to do a quick poll here. Result poll. I think it's going to be very interesting. We've started doing these more when the game's kicked off because I think it just gives you... Lots of people do predictions before a game, and I actually think it's quite nice to do it at the start of a game and then leave it for 20 minutes or so, just to give you the opportunity to watch the game a little bit and see how it's going to go. I think you get a better bet. Happy New Year, Mark. Who do you think will end the season in the top 4? It's an easy question, the Anfield Exchange. Keep your eye on tomorrow. Game's probably going to get postponed. I definitely think the top 4 will be Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City. It's who's going to get 5th place. I've got a bad injury here for Livramento. Just looked like a bit of a collision. I'm just wondering if he's caught it in the cock. Yeah. Half his arse is on show here. Why are these games so early, says Michael FIFA. Mate, we've had half 12 games since about 1995. Nice to see Botman back for Newcastle. I don't know whether this is his first game back, but how long is he going to stay fit? Livramento looks fine. It was just a collision. Yeah, it looks like he caught it in the nuts. Yeah. That's the only thing that's going to knock a man down like that. Yeah, he just caught one in the midriff. Okay. First game back since his ACL for Botman, says whoa, thank you. Yeah, we had nearly 200,000 views on the video with Robbie from yesterday. The plan is to do a review on a Monday and a preview on a Friday. And hopefully we'll be able to keep it going. But I've always been up for this. I used to love it when I used to go on the kickoff. I love it, but you know, people are just so, I don't know what it is, scared or I don't know. It's just weird to me. Anyone else I'd like to collab with in this space? You know what? I'd surprise you if I told you who I'd collab with. A lot of the people I'd like to collab with are people that are perceived as my, you know, enemies. I'd love to do it because I just don't think they'd be. I just think it'd be a very interesting conversation. Goal! 1-0! Spurs! Get in! Solanke! Who put that cross in? Give him a pay rise. Absolutely fantastic goal. Superb. Was it Pedro Porro? Was it Jed Spence? I don't know. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a brilliant goal. It was a brilliant goal for Spurs. And it's Solanke. 1-0 already. What a cross. I tell you what. That's just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Porro, what a cross. I thought it was. Watch this. Watch this cross here. There's not a lot you can do about that. Oh, it's just so good. It's so good. The cross is I mean, David Beckham would be excited about this one. Be reaching for the tissues. It's such a good goal, that. I mean, that's what we watch football for. I tell you what, I'm bloody excited by that. Oh, I just love football. That cross is so good. You can't defend it. It's got height, curl, and it lands on his head to perfection. I mean, it's a good header by Solanke, but what a cross by Porro. And it's probably the right team you want to score first as well, because if Newcastle score first away from home, it becomes a difficult day. So, yeah, good game. Game on. Game on. It was Pedro Porro with the cross, yes. Diving header, lost start, says JTX. Yes, took it well. Wow, what a start here. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Coaster Michael's got Porro on his bench. Can somebody tell me, even if you have to go through to the homepage, what did I need to write? I should have wrote this down. Oh, I wonder if Matt the admin's in the chat. Matt the admin, if you're in the chat, could you WhatsApp me each game what Robbie and me went for? Because I need to win, lose or draw is back. So basically, me and Robbie did a video on the channel yesterday for all the Premier League games. We predict win, lose or draw. You get a point for each one. And then each week you add up all your points. And we're going to have a forfeit. But, oh, it's 1-1! Oh, it's 1-1! Anthony Gordon! Oh my God, what a start. This game could be a cracker. He's a fantastic player. I tell you what, I think for Marcus Rashford to be the player that Anthony Gordon is, you'd need 10 Rashfords for 1 Gordon. That's the ratio. That's how good he is. But Bergvall, that's a handball in the build-up. There's a handball in the build-up there. Is it? Or was it his thigh? Let's have a look at this again. That's going to be a handball. That's not going to get given, is it? It's a lovely finish by Anthony Gordon, though. You can't argue with the finish, but I think that has to be a handball, Newcastle fans, unfortunately. I don't like it. I really don't like it, but in the modern game, that has to be a handball. What? Oh my God! How has that been given? How the hell has that been given? Absolutely no. How the hell have they given that? No. That is an absolute disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. Come on. Come on. I mean, right, I'm just going to mic drop this straight away. Natural position. It blocks the pass of the Spurs player and therefore it gives an advantage to Newcastle to go and play a one-on-one. You can't give that goal. That is pure stupidity. You can't give that goal. Because even though his hand's in a natural position, it blocks a pass and gives Newcastle an advantage. You can't give that goal. That is absolutely woke madness. That is absolutely disgusting. Even Cardi says, as an Arsenal fan, that's shocking. You can't give that goal. I'm sorry, I don't care what the rule book says. You can't give that goal. There is such thing as an accidental handball. But it stops the bloody pass. And then Newcastle get an advantage. You can't give that goal. I don't care who it is. You can't give it. That is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Well, here we are, 2025, and VAR is still lubing up the Premier League and giving it one. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry. It's controversial. Hey, welcome to the show, but that is disgusting. I'd be fuming. I don't care who that's against. It's disgusting, that. If that happened tomorrow at Anfield, I'd be sat here. If you know tomorrow, if McAllister tries and knocks it past Bruno and Bruno hits his hand and then he slips in Rasmus and it's 1-0, I'd be celebrating it, but I'd be saying, jammy. Absolute jammy. That should never be a goal. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. 54% of you gone with a Newcastle win, 21% with a draw, Spurs with a win, 25%. Get in the comments, let us know what your thoughts are. I'm going to run a poll on this. Should the Newcastle goal have stood? Let me know your thoughts. Oh, it's gone really slow now. But brilliant start from Spurs. Very good goal, but... I'm just wondering if there is an official there is an official PGMOL website, isn't there? And I'm just having a quick look. Does anybody know what it's called? Oh, Solanke with a shot. Good block. Matt's just told me Robbie said Newcastle win. I said Spurs win. Oh. Nothing on the Premier League match centre at the moment. I'm sure they'll say something in a minute. Do you think the reason for Maguire's extension gives them an option to maybe sell him in the summer and get some money for him, says Liam G? Right, yeah, it does do. 58 Go says, what's he meant to do with his hand? Mate, I'm not asking him to chop it off. We've not got that sort of a regime. I'm just saying you just go back and give a free kick. It's like saying, what's he supposed to do with his leg if he accidentally trips up a Spurs player? Just give a free kick. I don't get what your point is. What's he supposed to do with his hand? You give a fucking free kick for handball. That's what you do. If he, like Jim says, if it doesn't hit his hand, Newcastle don't score. If it doesn't hit his hand, Spurs pass goes to a Spurs player. You can't give a goal when somebody's hand blocks a pass and they score from it because of it. It's disgusting. It's not fair. It's a disgusting decision, and you know, this is the problem with Premier League football these days. You don't know whether you're coming or going. You wake up in the morning, you don't know whether your name's Harold or Harriet. Hand by his side doesn't matter. No hand, no goal, says Joshua King. His hand isn't by his side. His hand isn't by his side, though, is it? His hand blocks the pass and Newcastle score from it. I mean, it's just a disgustingly stupid rule and it shouldn't be in football. I'm not disputing that they haven't followed the letter of the law, but as per usual, there's none of this. There's no common sense. They've looked at the rule book and gone, rule book says natural hand position, play on. When actually, anyone who's played the game goes, hold on a minute, that's a good pass by the Spurs player that gets blocked by a hand of a Newcastle player. Then the advantage goes to the Newcastle player who slips in another Newcastle player and scores. You can't give the goal. Up the Chelsea, says Lockin, shocking call. Is the podcast with Will coming soon? It was out on Thursday, mate. It's just exclusively on Spotify now, and FFC. So, yeah, it's not on YouTube anymore. It's just going to be exclusively on Spotify. So it was there on Thursday. It's back on Monday. Samuel says, regardless of natural, it resulted in a goal. What the fuck? Said hand was natural place and can't do anything, says Robert McCormack. That's bollocks though, Robert. Come on, have an opinion. That's bollocks. If that happened against United, you'd be fucking fuming. That can't happen. So basically what they're saying is that, well, this is why we don't get many fucking handballs anymore, isn't it? John says, Newcastle's midfield this season is so strong. Strokes body and then onto hand, no handball, says Nelly. That doesn't mean anything. G-Man, I'll collab with you, Mark. Why is game tomorrow getting postponed, says Jack. It's not been postponed yet. There's just a lot of snow coming in over the next 24 hours. Antonio Mora says, if it doesn't hit his hand, it's not a goal. Joel Linton needs to get booked, by the way. Not for the handball, but he's already done one on Porro. He's now left one on Bergvall. Oh, mate. Nah. You need to get looked at here, mate. That's not the angle. He needs to get looked at here. Nothing. Absolute disgrace. New year, same shit, says Van Dijk. Klopp says, that's such a terrible call. Woeful decision by VAR. They need to be investigated. Still wait. I mean, look, we'll get an update on the Premier League Match Centre. I'm sure it'll come through in a minute. No, they've not said anything yet. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. We are on the road to 1.3 million on this channel, and we are only 300 away from 287. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. As always, you're very welcome. We are doing Brighton against Arsenal later as well. Good game, though. You know, as much as it's controversial, you can't argue it's a good game. I feel bad for Spurs, though, because their goal was so good so early, and you don't want to concede so quickly afterwards. I like Joel Linton. What happened to the Goldbridge Arms? We're back in it on Monday, Luke. What do you think about Joel Linton punching Bergvall? I don't think he punches him, but he definitely did something. Says it feels a little bit like a dirty derby. Oh, sounds a bit sexual, but you won't get that on TNT. There we go. Spurs on the break. Solanke's got to get rid of that. Surely that's going to be a yellow card. This time it is Dan Burn. Dan Burn has received a booking for a foul on Solanke. Got a cracking game going on. Went on a lovely walk today. If you've not seen my Instagram, check it out at Goldbridge Mark. Bit of UK frost. Check it out. Always happens. I don't know whether it's the same way you are. Most of my life, you get Christmas and New Year, and then the week after New Year, it will snow. I always think they should put Christmas back a week. David's just had a Magnum lolly. Absolutely lovely. Not had one in ages. Lovely, David. You know what I'm going to have? I've got to, because I'm doing Brighton Arsenal, I'm going to have my big dinner at 4 o'clock today, in between this game and that game. So I've got a lovely pie, some veg, and then I've got custard, which I didn't use on New Year's Day, and I'm probably going to have a mince pie with it. Yeah. Reckon it's a must-win for Arsenal tonight, says VG. Yeah, I agree with what Robbie said on our win, lose or draw show yesterday. You've got to put that pressure on Liverpool. Arsenal would be, let's have a look at the league table. Arsenal would be 3 points behind Liverpool if they win tonight. And especially if the Liverpool game gets postponed. All right, Liverpool would have 2 games in hand, but... You know, it gives Arsenal a bit of an opportunity to put a bit of pressure on. And Arsenal's next few games are, after Brighton, they've had 2 tough away games. Then they've got, what's Arsenal? They must be at home next. I mean, Arsenal have got 8 games in January. It's a lot of football. Here's Kulusevski. That's going to go for a corner. Yeah, they've got Spurs at home a week on Wednesday, and then they've got Villa at home, and they've got Wolves away. So it does, I mean, I don't think there's any. I don't know about you, but I actually don't think there's any such thing as a good run of fixtures in the Premier League anymore. Barbie or Oppenheimer, says Matty. I've never watched Barbie. Thoughts on a front three of Mawani, Ramos, and Greenwood, says Ali. It's a bit of a random front three. I don't know. I'd have to see it in action. Thanks for your super chats, by the way. We'll read those out through the $sign if you do them. Get back to short at the top of your hair, says Bilal. I like it with a bit of length. That's what she said. Should the Newcastle goal have stood? 66% say no, 34% say yes. Mate, I'm just going to say what I say again. That Newcastle equalizer, if you've not seen it, is a disgrace. The letter of the law may well be true, but what is every law in the world, in the country you live in, a good law? It's a stupid law. It's an interception. Anthony Gordon nearly scoring again from a similar situation. It's an interception by handball that gives Newcastle the opportunity to score. That is not the right way of doing things in football. You know, you can't have an advantage from illegally blocking the ball. Natural hand position or not, common sense has to come into play. Whether, you know, there should be a law. What I'm basically saying is I don't want to moan for moaning's sake. What I'm saying is there should be a law that, whether deliberate or not, if the hand intercepts, if the hand, look, basically I'm trying to think of the wording, but the wording should be, if the ball touches a hand deliberately or not deliberately in the preceding 10 seconds of a goal, then it shouldn't be a goal. It's as simple as, I thought that rule was in place already. I thought that rule was already there. If the ball touches the hand from either team in the 10 seconds before a goal, it's not a goal. I thought that was already there. You can't be giving goals that are... I mean, look, how preposterous is this? Cross comes in, hits a player's hand, which is by his side, deflects to the back post, and I tap it in. It's going to get given. That's how stupid that rule is. I get the people that are saying, what can he do with his hand? It's a natural position and Newcastle score. But in that situation, it's still wrong. But what they're basically saying is, if Newcastle in the second half whip a cross in, Joel Linton stood there like that, hits his palm and bounces to Gordon on the back post for a tap-in, it will get given. It's the same thing. It's illogical. So even if you're there going, well, I think it should have been a goal, think the rule through. Think the worst case scenario. Cross comes in, hits a hand naturally, deflects to the back post, and it's a tap-in. You can't give a goal like that. You just can't. Any touch on the hand in the build-up to a goal should not be given as a goal. It's as simple as that. And I thought that rule was in place. Newcastle have been very good since the equaliser. It's not in the spirit of the game either, says Ian. Well, the trouble about spirit of the game is it might not be in legislation, but... Ducky says, I like this Tottenham goalkeeper. I don't know who he is, Austin. He looks better than Forster. Mark, can you please learn the rules? It has to be intentional, which it isn't, regardless if you agree or not. It's the rule and it was rightly given. Kian, can you shut up and listen instead of, you know, just coming up with your opinion? I've literally just spent 5 minutes sitting you down and saying the rule is stupid. Whether the rule's there or not, it's a stupid rule. And I've just explained it why. Premier League have tweeted about the goal, says Dan. Jahoki, welcome. Thank you very much. I'm just going to read what they've said. The referee's call of goal was confirmed by VAR, who checked for a potential handball by Joe Ledson in the build-up and deemed that his arm was by his side in a natural position and the contact was accidental. I've quote tweeted it. Did you miss playing Saturday football in this weather? Freezing changing rooms, rock hard pitch, says Ollie. Mate, we used to play in all sorts. Hail, I remember playing him. I remember playing one game, and the centre circle was basically a pond. And I did this slide tackle, and I think they had to get a lifeguard because no one could find me. Yeah, you didn't used to get cancellations in our day. I remember going to watch like United play at Old Trafford in the early 90s, and by Christmas the pitch would look like a farmer had ploughed it. A lot of people saying that Dan Barnes should have got a red card there. Should have been another yellow. I'm getting a bit fed up of this. Oh my God. How is he not given a second yellow there? This ref's out of his control. It might be, to be fair, you know what? This just proves how fair I am. If you haven't seen it, Kulusevski knocks the ball past Dan Burn and he has his hand out like that. It should be a yellow card because he's blocking the pass. But when you watch it back, I think it hits him high there. VAR can't help with that. That's the referee on the pitch anyway. So this ref looks a bit shit to me. But yeah, I think that might have been a harsh second yellow, to be fair. I'm not going to moan about that one. But he was lucky. He was lucky. I've not had the chance to say Happy New Year, says Lee Berman. So Happy New Year. Hope it's the best one yet. Cheers, mate. Thank you, Lee. Going to get some live shows this year, by the way, which you're very welcome to. The live show I'm doing this year, although it's 10 years of the United Stand, I'm not doing this differential shit anymore because every live show I've done is just very football orientated. It's not even, I'm not even going to call it United Stand. It's just going to be 10 years United Stand live show, but you know, I take the piss out of everything in that. Thank you. Happy New Year, Lee. So if it wasn't a free kick, I can just chip the ball into the opponent's hand. He could have passed the ball along the ground. Don't know, I'm in between, says Ja. Anthony Croak says, is Dan Burns' arm not in a natural position? I don't think when you put your arms like that, you're in a natural position. Porro shoots over the bar. Well, it's been a very hectic opening few minutes here. The handball, I'm just reading some stuff here. The handball rule exists to prevent players from gaining an advantage by playing the ball with their hand or arm. If a referee determines that a player has broken the rule, they can award a free kick or a penalty. VAR officials should have a high threshold for changing subjective on-field decisions. Justifiable actions, it's not handball if the player is in a justifiable position or making a justifiable action. That's where they'll have covered themselves. Accidental handball, it's an offence if a player scores a goal directly from their hand or arm, even if it was accidental. I mean, that's the contradiction for me. So, an accidental handball, natural or not, that leads to a goal, isn't a goal. But an accidental handball that gives you an advantage to score a goal is a goal. I mean, their rules don't make sense. So basically, if Joel Linton's handball then had ended up with the ball going into the net, it's not going to get given. But because it leads to an assist for a goal, it can get given. I mean, it doesn't make any bloody sense. Why have we got Prats in charge of our game? So, accidental handball is fine as long as you don't score with it. Why does that make any sense? The Newcastle have just scored a goal because of an accidental handball. But because it's in the build-up, it's fine. Stupid rule. Would you take Tyreek Mitchell from Palace? I'd take most left backs at Man United at the moment because we don't have one, Liam. Thank you very much for your super chat there. Corner to Newcastle. And they've done nothing with it. Oh, it's got... Oh, how? Anthony Gordon can't believe it. Isak, cross from, I think, Livramento. Isak puts it wide, and Anthony Gordon's near... No, it's Murphy with the cross. Let's watch this back. It's good play by Newcastle. Lovely ball by Bruno G. Murphy with the cross, and I tell you what, I think it was going to go to Anthony Gordon on the back post. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been a tap-in for Anthony Gordon. Isak took it. Doesn't make sense because when they check offsides, they go through multiple stages of play. They don't allow the assister to be offside, says Nelly Gandela. Would you replace Amorim with... I don't even know who that is, Ali. Thank you. Are you going to do the Super Bowl this year, says Jack? Yes, definitely. Looking forward to that. Spurs have certainly struggled since it's been 1-1. Newcastle have looked the better side. Bergval's cross is interesting again, but Botman does well. Was that Botman? I think it was Botman, yeah. They're on the break again here, Newcastle. They've got a 4v4. Bruno G into Anthony Gordon. He's looked very lively today. Back into Bruno G. And it's a corner. 0.01 XG and still Newcastle scoring. That's Tottenham for you, says Cats for Life. What happened to the F1 watch-along, says the Two Pulp. What happened to the F1 watch-alongs? F1 got shit, basically. Yeah, fair point from Omni. Spurs are missing today Romero, Van der Ven, Adogi, Son. So 4 definite starters. Foul on the keeper there. Don't normally see them get given. Don't know a lot about this goalkeeper. Didn't really see much of a foul there, to be honest. Brandon Austin is 25 and is a yeah, that's about it. He's 25. Nice ball into Gordon again. Newcastle looking good at the end of this first half. Well, I say end of the first half. We've still got 10 minutes to go. Ollie says, breaking, Seb Goldbridge, key to Maguire extension. And Michael says, that's literally the definition of handball, Prats. Philip says, we analyse the refs more than the game, and that's sad. Yeah, because it's almost like they do it on purpose. They create inconsistencies and, you know, situations to take us off the football. Anyway, can anybody remember playing on a rock-hard pitch, like grass, when it's frozen? Fall down on that. Oh, it's worse than concrete because it's bumpy. And also, you had to be a baller to play on a frozen pitch. Passing, dribbling. Or what about this? Playing on a frozen pitch in normal football boots. Oh. I never minded playing on a muddy pitch. I mean, because that's absolutely, you know, it was a ball. I think most of my football career, between the age of like 8 and 18, I very rarely played on a proper pitch that was, you know, good. You certainly couldn't play football tiki-taka. Nice ball by Spurs. Kulusevski looks for the pass, and Newcastle will break away. Tonali, he's going long. Bloody knew he would. Dragerson, Isak's done well. Dragerson's done well, giving a throw in. Five-a-side on Astro on ice, hurt if you fell down, says Joe Coleman. I used to play five-a-side on wood. We used to play in like this Bingham Leisure Centre. They had this like five-a-side court, and it was like polished wood with a proper, like, the ball was yellow, but it had like a felt material on it. It was weird. Nobody minds a muddy pitch, Mark, if you know, says Rub. Here we go. Murphy in the box, trying to put the cross in. It's a good cross. It's wild. There we go. 2-1 Newcastle. It's been coming, and it's Isak. And I tell you what, Spurs will be looking at that, and they will be going, how have we conceded from that situation? They are a club in trouble. They really are. Robbie might be getting 1-0 up on me here. Newcastle are 2-1 up at Spurs. They've been the better side since the controversial equaliser. You can't argue about that. I just want to say to Newcastle fans, of course you're going to have tinted glasses on, because that's how it works when you get a favourable decision. But really, my frustration is aimed at the ineptitude of the PGMOL. The bottom line is Newcastle are a good team at the moment, and that's a good goal. I mean, I don't know what Dragerson's marking there. I think it might even go down as an OG, but his positional sense is absolutely shocking. Why is he not ahead of the ball there? Poor defending. Murphy's underrated, says New Bold Hero. Yeah, he's had a good game. I mean, he should have had an assist a few minutes ago, shouldn't he? But yeah, poor defending by Dragerson. Nath Footy says, playing on a pitch with long grass is the worst. Oh, mate, it is. It really is. Puffy the boy says, it's okay to rugby tackle Burn into the goal on that corner, yet it was a foul on the keeper. Yes, it's active. Says, how you all doing today? I'm looking forward to the shows today. And Matthew Park says, everyone's talking about how bad Man United are, but Spurs aren't doing much better. I think that's gone down as an OG as well, hasn't it? It's interesting. Oh, we'll look at that at half time, but 5 minutes to go. Has it gone down as an Isak goal or an own goal? I'm just about to see now. I think it's an OG. No, it's an Isak goal, that. Yeah, he gets the final touch. Stu Wright lives near Bingham, and my daughter goes to your old school. Bingham's massive now. It's double the size. I still can't believe that school hasn't asked me to do... we should really be building a statue. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Spurs relegation firm, says Jonathan Gray. I think Spurs could be looking at a manager change. I mean, I think it'd be very sad for Ange to go, but it does get to a point where it's hard to justify where they are. I mean, the incredible thing about Spurs is that they've scored more goals than anybody else in the league other than Liverpool, and they're 11th in the league. Their next game is Arsenal away as well. I mean, that literally might be the final straw. They've got Spurs on Wednesday. We'll do a league semi-final watch-along for that. But their next league games are Arsenal away and Everton away. It ain't easy, bruv. And Newcastle are just in fantastic form at the moment. I mean, for them, a win at Old Trafford and a win at Spurs in their last two games, many people would say, well, you'd expect that, but it's still strong form. Spurs backline might actually be the worst in the Prem, says Michael. And Baron Von Filth says, I said a few weeks ago that between United and Spurs, you'd get a semi-functioning team. Perhaps I was wrong. People say Ange out, but who else? Yeah, I think that's Spurs' problem, isn't it? Because Spurs' problem is very similar to Man United's. It's not the manager who's the problem. It's the ownership and the players. What I'm trying to say is that if you give Spurs a new manager, I don't think you're suddenly going to start winning loads of games. And it's a very, very, very competitive season, isn't it, as well? Bestie Boy says, I think Chelsea will drop points today. Slark says, why aren't clubs getting Isak? He's so good. Well, I think Newcastle would want a lot of money, wouldn't they? Here's Isak again. I would have had a shot there, Bruno G. Anthony Gordon, they're queuing up in the box. Oh my God, Spurs defending. Scrog says, as a Spurs fan, it's most disheartening to hear other fans want to sack Ange when he's being asked to work a miracle with a mixture of kids and trash. Yeah, I don't think you should be getting rid of Ange. I really don't, but you never know how football's going to work, do you? I agree with Exuman. He says, how are they going to actually get Isak? Exactly. I mean, you're going to want 100 million, and I don't think anyone's got that amount of money at the moment. Good tackle by Kulusevski. Newcastle are still in and around, though. Into Joel Linton. Side netting. What year do you feel this channel took off, says Philip? I think it was 2022. It had a big glow up in 2022. Oh, God. I'm having too much sleep at the moment. I slept ages last night. Favourite ground to watch a match, excluding Old Trafford or Wembley, says Nath Footy. I always liked, I mean, it's sad it's the last season of it, isn't it? But I always liked Goodison Park. I'd be very sad when that's gone. I think the Premier League loses something when Goodison Park goes, actually. Are you going to be in the new side men charity match? Says hello. I've not heard anything. Didn't hear anything until about a couple of weeks before the last two as well. I'd love to be involved, but obviously it's a massive event and they might go massive on who they get involved. I don't mind. I'd commentate, play, manage. But you can't take those things for granted. They're a bonus if they happen. Newcastle. I tell you what, Newcastle look like they might have the third coming here. Gordon. They're dominating them at the moment. He's going to have to make subs. You've got Basuma, Maddison, Son on the bench. I think you're going to have to use them. Mark, would you collab with Stunt Pegs? It's 4231. I've done content with Stunt Peg loads of times. We actually, talking about charity games, we co-commentated a few years ago together. V&V says, I can't believe Spurs are second for most goals, but 11th. What? Apparently Newcastle do need to sell to buy again. I mean, look, I don't profess to spend a lot of time analysing FFP, although we talk about it a lot at United. But Newcastle are the richest club in the world with their ownership, but they're still having to sell to buy. It's a weird one. There's a way back for Spurs, though. Dan Burn's on a yellow card. Get at Dan Burn. That's what I'd be saying here. Hot take, Anthony Gordon is the most underrated player in the Premier League. I think he's a fantastic player, Nath. I really do. I've been saying it for a long time. Do you know what that is? I haven't drunk it in ages and we got a bottle of it for Christmas. Vimto Cordial. Oh, what's even in it? It's great. I normally just drink water, but oh, so good. She's going to sleep. Tom Grant says Newcastle actually have a decent team, manager and owners. They've got the lot. I quite like Bergvall for Spurs, and very young, but has got potential. But potential's not always the thing you need, is it? Make sure you subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner, we're only 200 away from 287,000. Get involved with That's Football in 2025. Loads of watch-alongs, always daily content as well. That's another good cross by Porro, and it's good defending on the back post by Livramento. It goes for a corner, which will just about get time for it to happen. Get involved. If you've got any controversial opinions or either-ors, we'll talk about that. Isak, striker of the season, says Simon. I don't know. I think... oh, God. Can't stop sneezing. I don't know. I think there might be an element of... recency bias there, because I do definitely remember before Christmas people were saying that Isaac's been a bit shit. So, but look, there's no doubt that he would massively enhance an Arsenal team or a Chelsea. I think he'd be perfect for those two. Ange is just managing the best of a bad bunch, says the Formula One. Are you ready for the weather? It will be bad, especially Cheshire in the north. Just hope people won't get cut off like they normally do with the drifting, says Joshua Betterson. I'll have a look at the weather report, actually, in a moment. It's half-time here, and it's a controversial one. I was saying before the game that in 2025, it's about saying it how it is in a respectful way. How crap was the TNT coverage before, yet again, just 3 people I've got no interest in listening to. But controversy on the pitch as well. I just think what a great goal it was by Spurs to go 1-0 up. And Newcastle have definitely been the better side, but the big controversial point was the equalizer by Anthony Gordon, a pass by Bergvall that was intercepted by Joel Linton's hand and then slipped through to Gordon. You can't score a goal with an accidental handball, but you can assist it. What a stupid rule. I would like to see how many kilometres this Newcastle team midfield three run every game. The intensity and aggression is massive, and they can also play with the ball, says Vita. Is it the best midfield three outside of Liverpool in the league? Favourite Canadian who plays in the Premier League, Mark? Cheers from Canada, says Nath. Can't think of any. But yes, Newcastle leading 2-1 at half-time. They've been the better side. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't cover up what was quite obvious controversy. 54% possession, 7 shots to Spurs' 3, 4. 3 on shots on target to Spurs' 2. 7 corners to Spurs' 3. 86% pass accuracy to Spurs' 73%. You can't argue with the fact that Newcastle are 2-1 up here, but you can argue about the controversy, I would think. Just a bit of a weather watch. Why are we talking about weather? Well, it's going to be a big game tomorrow between Liverpool and Manchester United, but the forecast is changing rapidly in the UK. They won't shut up about it. It's currently freezing in the UK, like 0 degrees. From about 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to start seeing what would be rain fall as snow. Heavy snow around midnight, and it will continue through the night into the early hours. This is problematic because the weather temperature is very low as well. Specifically in Liverpool, where the game is meant to be kicking off tomorrow afternoon, they're going to get heavy snow all the way through the early hours and into early morning, and it might keep falling until midday. The temperature's not going to get up above 1 degree until about 12 o'clock. So my prediction is I'll say 50-50, but just knowing how the game's got, knowing how it works in the UK, I just think they're going to call that off because of ice and snow and health and safety for the fans that are going to turn up. I mean, Tom Grant says surely teams have heated pitches. Mate, the game can go ahead. This happened a few years ago at Arsenal. The game can go ahead. It's the health and safety around the ground in case somebody slips. So, yeah. Under 12, frozen pitch, 1-1 at half-time. We won 21-1. Says Dallas Knight. What happened in the second half? So, yeah, I think it will get called off, is my guess. But I'd say 50-50 at the moment. Because sometimes it's hard to predict snow. It can fall as rain. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see how that works for you. Yeah. Looking at the weather in New York, bloody hell. Have you looked at the weather in New York? I mean, I don't want to do weather watch, but from today to Friday the 17th, so nearly 2 weeks, it's like -5, -6. Proper weather. Proper weather. Anyway, Newcastle won't sell Isak, but they might sell Barnes, says Sir Porkstick. Thank you very much for your super chat. Do you think Arsenal will win the league with Isak, says Samuel? Well, I think if you had someone like Isak, you wouldn't be drawing at home to teams like Everton. I think that's the big difference there. Ever thought of writing a football quiz book, says Simon? No, actually. And I was in New York over Christmas a few years ago, and the snow there is mad. Poor refereeing, says Kevin. And it's really hot in Australia at the moment. Well, it is your summer. Do you think Spurs can get back into this game? I think the fact that Spurs have got Son, Maddison and Basuma on their bench and they need to score goals, the game is certainly still open. But as I said, I think for the last 10 minutes of that half, it looked more like Newcastle were going for the third goal, which would surely be the killer goal. Spurs need to attack better. You're not going to defend well. You've got loads of defenders out, and the Ange system isn't the best at defence anyway. So I think Spurs need to get more on the front foot in the second half. They have been massively unfortunate in relation to the goal, the equaliser. But there was a chance just before the Isak goal where Murphy did a very similar thing, and it would have been a tap-in on the back post, but Isak just put it wide. So I think Tottenham can get back into it, but we mustn't underestimate what Newcastle are doing at the moment, which is playing very, very, very well. That's been evident for a few weeks now. And I actually was mentioning this on the podcast with Will. Will actually reminded me of it, that I said that Newcastle would finish, I think, 5th or 4th, and I fancied they'd have a good season this year because they're not in Europe. I think their biggest problem at the start of the season was mainly injuries. But here they are again. Look, the boring 3 on TNT. I mean, fucking hell. No disrespect, but I don't want to listen to any of you. Where's the entertainment in 2025? Fucking hell. Boring. Bring me Janola and Ferdinand. And Gabby Yoreth presenting. Bloody hell. It's terrible. You're paying for that. Absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Newcastle fixtures. I mean, they play. I mean, we've got a watch along on this on Tuesday. Arsenal, Newcastle, Emirates semi-final of the Carabao Cup. That's going to be a good game. Then they've got Bromley in the FA Cup next weekend. Then they've got Wolves at home. Then they've got Bournemouth at home. Then they've got Southampton away. I mean, if you're a Newcastle fan at the moment, you're looking at those games and you're going, hey ho. Most teams in January are playing 8 games. Newcastle have got 5. So they've got 6, including today. But next 3 Premier League games, 2 at home, and then Southampton away, which is basically 3 points. So they could take 9. They could take 9 points from this, which is, I don't see Newcastle dropping away, is what I'm saying. They've got a really good chance. I just can't. I've just seen that back again. I can't believe you can give the advantage to Newcastle there. I mean, look at his arm. It shakes. I don't care what anybody says. You can't give the goal for that. You can't give the goal for that. It's not right. It's just not right. He blocks a pass with his hand. It's an advantage to Newcastle. The logical thing is just to give a free kick. Once again, the ref and the VAR are a disgrace. No consistency, says Johannes. Much love to Goldbridge from Switzerland. I hope you're having a good time, Johannes. Lovely part of the world, Switzerland. I want to do a bit of travelling this year, actually. Got a few cities I'd like to visit. Nath Footy says, maybe we'll get an Orange Ball Snow Classic tomorrow. Thank you very much for that. I think I personally... Sam says, Shearer just said that goal was never a handball. Yeah, but Alan Shearer just, to stay relevant, I think Alan Shearer every now and again just comes and talks absolute shit. Because his reputation has always been boring. And I think he just comes out with stuff now, especially around Newcastle. But if he ever wants to sit down and have a proper chat about football, the doors are open. He'll bottle it. Is that wine by the glass, Mark, says Leo? No, I think I'm going to have a day off the drink today. Just on the Vimto. Man City or West Ham, says London. Yeah, just looking at the 3 o'clock games. I'm sure we can put them up on the screen for you, actually. I can't remember what I predicted, but I would say Villa will beat Leicester. I think Bournemouth will beat Everton unless Everton can get a draw. Palace, Chelsea, I think will be a draw. Man City are going to beat West Ham. West Ham are so shit. Southampton, Brentford. I think Southampton. I don't think Brentford are good away from home. And then Brighton, Arsenal, we're doing a watch-along for at 5:30. Arsenal, I'm just going to go against you again because I do actually want you to win because I think we want a title race, but I actually think Brighton might get something out of that. Yeah, that's my predictions for this afternoon. And we will be back, of course, for the Brighton-Arsenal game. Any interesting conversations going on? What pieces do you think Newcastle is missing to become a championship contender next season? I think you mean a Premier League title contender. Newcastle need depth, Alec. But they can't spend the money. Newcastle have got the foundations for a very good team, but the reason you didn't stay in the Champions League was because you qualified for the Champions League and you don't have a squad to do Champions League and the Premier League. Newcastle need to buy, and have the money to buy, but FFP prevents them. They need to buy about 6 or 7 players and have a good squad. And I don't know how Newcastle do that. I think there's an element of unfairness to it, really, because they have a huge, huge support. But they just don't seem to get the money in. They can't get the money in. Joe Hart's good, Mark, says Jude. Oh, boring. Maybe we'll get an Orange Ball Snow Classic. Would love to see you go to an obscure stadium with Ellis from away days, says Connell. He's a good lad, Ellis. Michael Dunn says that goal was political correctness gone mad. Would you swap Marcus Rashford for Harvey Barnes? Paul, I'd swap Marcus Rashford for John Barnes, and he's in his 60s. Are you going to do Arsenal versus Brighton watch-along? Yes, I am, Monk. And Moheb says, Liverpool can't be having more games postponed. Where would they fit them in? Yep. Would you swap Ahmad for Kulisevsky? This is 92. No. What do you think about Sonic? Tottenham are interested in buying him this transfer window. He's a right back from Vallecano and Barcelona want him. Can Spurs still win, says Kevin. And are you doing the Carabao Cup semi-final watch-alongs this week? Yes, both of those on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. What do you think Spurs will do concerning that goal, says AJ? I don't think there's anything they can do, mate, because by the letter of the law, they will hide behind it's not deliberate, it's accidental, and therefore the goal should be given. I don't think there's any argument, like Kian said, there's no argument that the rule protects the referee and VAR. I don't think anybody's going to get an apology, but it's the stupidity of the rule. And as I said, what you're basically saying is that if it's accidental and it leads to a goal, then it will be a goal. But if it's accidental and a goal is scored from it, it won't be a goal. Well, that's not logical. So basically, cross comes in, hits my hand accidentally and goes in, no goal. Cross comes in, hits my hand accidentally, and on the line, the striker knocks it in, it's a goal. And that's the end. That's the mic drop. I've just blown a hole in that rule completely. It's flawed. Cross comes in from a corner, my hand's by my side, it hits me on the hand and deflects into the goal. We can't give it, even though it's accidental. Same cross comes in, hits my hand, going towards the goal, but before it goes in, Anthony Gordon taps it in, goal. How does that work? How is that fair? It doesn't work. So the PGMOL have created a rule where if it's accidental handball and it goes in, you can't give it. But if it's accidental handball and it leads to a goal, you can give it. They've messed up. They've literally messed up. You have to go all or nothing. And they've messed up there big time because it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. So, as I said, I understand with everybody saying it's a goal because by the letter of the law, it is. But it's a stupid rule because it's flawed. It's absolutely flawed. And you've got to look at it like that. Yes, Joel Linton handballs it outside the penalty box and then passes it to Gordon who scores. But the letter of the law would be if Joel Linton handballs it and the ball's just about to go in the goal and Anthony Gordon scores, it's still going to be a goal as well. It's a stupid rule. If you got chucked into Squid Games, what would be your tactics to win, says V? I've never watched Squid Games, so I don't know. Reguilon's coming on. Bale or Rooney poll, says Peter Parker. I will set that up for you now. I think we've done it before. I think I remember who won, but let's see if I was right. Thanks everyone who's done Super Chats today, by the way. Please do subscribe. Nearly 15,000 watching. And we're ready to go for the second half here. Great to have football back. Oh, yes. Great to have football back. Loving that. I'm getting, where I live, heavy snow from about 7 o'clock tonight until about midnight. And then it's going to start raining at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's a bit crap. So Seb will go to bed, it will start chucking it down with snow, and then he'll wake up and won't see any snow. Come on. That's rubbish. Rain melts snow. I don't mind snow when you've got nowhere to go. But we moved house about 2 months ago and it chucked it down with snow and it made me really hate snow. And then I've got a mate who used to love snow at school. Like if it was snow day, he'd be knocking on your door at 6 o'clock saying, let's go and do stuff. And I mean, sledging, not like sexual things. And he used to love snow. And then one day he was late for work and it was snowing. And he backed out, checked his mirrors, backed out of his drive, and then felt a bump. And his white rabbit had got out of the cage and he'd run it over. And he couldn't see it in the snow. I mean, he could see it afterwards. It was like a bottle of ketchup had had a protest, but he hates snow now. Gives him flashbacks. Doesn't like rabbit stew either, which I like. But, you know, different situations. Wrap up weather according to Mark Goldbridge, says Mike. It was tragic, Dougie. It was a tragic accident. I always said to him, look, you don't know when the rabbit got out. It could have been dead, frozen. It would not have survived. Rabbits are not used to surviving in the snow. Over the bar by Saar. He'd given a free kick anyway. Right, I've got the timer and it's not on. That's wrong, that timer. What are we at? 47. We're about to hit 47. Yeah, that's a foul on keeper. Another one. Another one. Bloody hell. They've just done another one. That's not a penalty. Just kicked the ball at a Newcastle player's hand. You're not getting a penalty for that. Grant says, do you think we can get something against Liverpool? What are your thoughts? I think football predictions are just very, what's the word? You know, they can be a little bit sensationalist, but no, Newcastle are massive favourites in that game. No, that's not a penalty for me. Would you adopt me? I'm 25 and low maintenance, says Ollie. No. Big Ange getting the axe so they can bring in Sir Gareth Southgate. I'll tell you what, I'd feel so sorry for Spurs if you got Southgate, but I'd love to just watch that prat managing a Premier League club. How has he got a knighthood? Look, whoever brings Southgate in as a coach, you're done. He's crap. And I'll love it if somebody else does it, not United. He's a nice person, though, says Christian. Yeah. Right, hopefully we're going to see something from Spurs in this second half that's a little bit more attacking. That's a lovely... I think he's had a good game, Bergvall. Second time I've said it. He looks like a player to me. He's just got to be patient because he's young. He wants the ball a lot. Reminds me a little bit of Frankie de Jong. Anyone else getting Bergvall de Jong vibes? The way he moves the ball about. The imperious death of the White Rabbit. Hot topics is Tom Grant. Oh, what is Spence doing? Oh, he's going a free kick. Don't worry. Are you doing any more watch-alongs today? Yes, Brighton against Arsenal, Vicky Scott at 5:30. Sorry. Definitely more impetus from Spurs in the second half. Lay it off, lay it off. Solanke, terrible first touch. You've got to be better than that at this level, mate. Now it's Newcastle on the break. Murphy. How old's Murphy at Newcastle? Because he's looking good at the moment. Isaac, be careful. Good play. Good tackle, Bruno G. Into Tonali. Into Tonali. Oh, blocked again. Good tempo to this game. You can't take your eyes off it at the moment. Mainstream got Southgate a knighthood, says Steve Wynyard. Sandro gives me Pirlo vibes. Well, we've got Pirlo in the midfield for Newcastle, giving Jordan Hall, Betteridge, Pirlo vibes. And then you've got Bergvall in the Spurs midfield, giving Goldbridge, Frankie de Jong vibes. VXDZ says, I need your help. My girlfriend complains that we don't go out and just stay in. Yet when I make plans to go out, she complains and says no. What do I do? So she moans that you don't go out. And then when you arrange to go out, she doesn't want to go out. She sounds like a right indecisive person. So bin her off. You can't be doing with that uncertainty in your life. Good block there by Spence. You don't know whether you're coming or going, quite literally. Someone in the chat says, dump her unless she's good at blowjobs. You can't say that. Bear says, leave her. She's never going to be happy. Get her out, says Electric. What's she like in the bedroom? That's the main thing. Cleared away from the corner by Spurs. No, at the end of the day, you know, she's moaning when you're in the house and then she's moaning when you leave the house. And it doesn't matter whether she's a he or a she or whatever else people identify as these days. That sort of indecisiveness, it's just going to make you unhappy. Imagine if you swapped her for somebody who was happy if you stayed in or went out. They were just grateful, like a dog. A dog's grateful wherever you walk in the kitchen, whether you're taking it for a walk or whether you're just walking in to make something for yourself. The dog will just be happy. And that's the sort of relationship I think you should be looking for. Corner, no, throw in. Many Man United prioritise transfers or the leaky roofs as Tipsy Dipsy. I think when you're in a relationship, you need to tick off things that are important for you. I mean, never go on a date with your notepads. Don't let them know that you're ticking stuff off. I mean, you can't be there on your dessert going, good banter, likes football, looks like there'd be fun in the bedroom. You know, you can't be doing stuff like that. Imagine if you did. I'm thinking about having a long-term relationship with you. I like your banter. I like your dress sense. I like your perfume. You do like football. And basically, it's going to come down to what you like in the bedroom. Anything over an 8 out of 10, and I'm looking for a long-term relationship. If it's below an 8, you get in the boot. And then at the end of it, you say, Goldbridge calling girls dogs. Mate, listen to what I said. What did I say at the start of the show? Controversy with intelligence is exactly what we're looking for in 2025. We're not looking for abuse. At no point did I call his girlfriend a dog. I said, you're looking for a relationship with somebody who is grateful whether you go in or out. So, good save. Good save post. Spurs. Kulusevski. Block. Oh, come on. We're getting a game going now. What's your favourite pub in Nottingham? I met you at the White Horse, Ruddington. It says Notts Ben. Well, that is a good pub. I may as well say that one, Notts Ben, because my mate runs it. But haven't been out in Nottingham for years, so I couldn't give you a pub in Nottingham. I couldn't really. So let's just say the White Horse in Ruddington. There used to be a pub years ago near Broadmarsh train station that used to show the football. I think it was called The Navigation. I might be wrong with that. It's not there anymore. Too cold to go out, says Scribble. But if you are out, you know, like if you're in the Hairy Lemon in Dublin at the moment, and you can't beat a nice country pub with a fire on a Saturday afternoon. I used to love that. I used to go to this pub in Dublin, probably still there, under Tara Street Station. I can't remember what it's called. It was really cosy on a Saturday afternoon. Go in there for a couple of pints. They'd have candles. Russell Brown says, need some breakup advice, Mark. Tell me more. Rub says, you don't need a notepad. You just use your head. And Jace says, might be a bit of a stretch, but did you have any elderly relatives? Goal! No, cross. Headed away. Did you have any elderly relatives when you were younger who supported United when we were called Newton Heath? If so, did you ever get any stories? Jace, no. No, they'd be like, I'm not that old. Man United prioritised transfers or the leaky roofs, says Tipsy Dipsy. And here's Tonali. They've got to put a tackle in. Oh, Anthony Gordon. Well, they've got to tackle Tonali there. He gets a shot. I think it hits the chest of a Spurs player and then it bounces to Anthony Gordon and it really should be game over. But why aren't the Spurs defence putting a tackle in here? And Gordon should have scored. That should have been the game for Newcastle. O'Reilly's or Moss Lane, Mark? It was O'Reilly's, James. Definitely O'Reilly's. Liam's come up with another Agony Bridge question. I'm on vacation with my girlfriend in Okinawa, Japan. Any advice on meeting her family? I'm fluid in Japanese. I'm meeting them in 2 weeks. Bloody hell, that's a long vacation if you're there already and you're not meeting them for 2 weeks. Any advice on meeting her family? Yeah, just be yourself at the end of the day. Be assertive. There's no point in being fake. You know, give them an inch and they'll take a yard. You know, be too submissive and nice, you'll be washing up the pots. Cleaning the car, emptying the bins. Spurs have had 64% possession in the second half, but it's still 2-1 Newcastle, and they're coming forward again with Anthony Gordon. No way is that going to be a penalty, mate. Kulusevski. Anthony Gordon. Well, he stopped it because of a head injury. And Anthony Gordon does have blood. Well, VAR might take a look at it. Nah. Well, you know what? If I'm being completely honest... you'll say it's not a foul, but I don't think that's a foul, right? But in the honest sense of the word, Kulusevski doesn't touch the ball and hits Anthony Gordon in the face with his shoulder. Technically, is that a foul? Accidental or not? Rooney's beaten Bale, so I will do that as a poll. I mean, is that a penalty? I don't think it is, but technically, there is no touch on the ball from Kulusevski, who ends up running into Gordon because he skins him. So, is it a pen? I mean, you could technically say, yes. It's only the same as leaving your foot out, isn't it? And tripping him up. Still bodily contact. Remember Skype Goldbridge, Mark? They were the days, says Rich David. Thank you, Rich. Still a great goal by Solanke. That feels a long time ago. Lucky says it's a clear penalty. Tackles the ball without touching the ball. Tackles the player without touching the ball. And as Richard Walker says, fouls can be accidental. Yes, they can. But handballs can't be accidental. Can be accidental, yeah. Why does Anthony Gordon look like Gail Platt? What's with these awful mullets in 2025, says Obi Morgan. I blame Will and Spencer, FC. Triple substitutions for Spurs. Maddison, Son and Basuma. They've got to go for it in this last half an hour. Of course, they've got a big game against Liverpool on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup semi-final as well. Neil says, do you prefer Catch Me If You Can or Blood Diamond? Blood Diamond, bit more action. Please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Newcastle. No, it's not been given as a penalty, Liam. They've not even reviewed it. His shoulder's in a natural position, says Dallas Knight. Why is Salah so underrated, Mark, says Farah? Because people are stupid. Bergvall's coming off. He's had a good game. Lot of happy Spurs fans there. Obviously because Son's coming on. Uh, 60% of you say it should have been a penalty, 40% say no. I don't think it's a penalty because I don't think you should get a penalty for something like that. But what I will concede is technically it's a penalty because he tries to tackle him. And just because it's not the leg that fouls him and it's the shoulder, it's still illegal bodily contact. I think it probably was a penalty, to be honest. Why do I sleep so bad after a few beers, says Caitlin? Dehydration. Alcohol dehydrates you. I'll tell you what, though. I had an impromptu... I wasn't going to go out last night, but we went down the pub at about 4:30. Had a good 3 hours of pints and chat, and it was really nice. Pub wasn't as busy as it's been over Christmas as well. Yeah, a lot of dry January prats not there, and the atmosphere was nice. How can West Ham improve the current situation, says Ken Bro. You need to sack your manager. Yeah. Anthony Gordon's got a couple of white sticks up his nose of cotton wool. Well done, Porro. He's had a good game. Right, can Maddison, Son and Basuma make a difference in this second half? Here is Son. They're up in there. Maddison. Thought about the cross. Newcastle just going to defend and counter now. Scott, thank you very much for your super chat. How come Ineos sponsor Spurs stadium seats, says Sean? I don't know, but it was definitely there before they bought United. The defender clearly impedes Gordon on continuing with the play, which makes it a pen for me, says Nath Footy. Good play by Gordon there. Had a super chat from Goldio. Thanks, Goldio. He says, Mark, can we get an insight into how close you were to debating Gary Neville or doing a show with him? Would love to see you debate him. Have you ever spoken to him? I think it would be a brilliant show, and I think it would do good views. But I don't know how close it was. I did get invited to go on the Overlap a couple of years ago, yeah, he's got a real problem with me, and I don't really know why, to be honest. I think I'd just leave it at that. I think he's a very bitter, egotistical person, from what I've been told, and very, very competitive, but not very open to actually debating people that he's got an issue with. So I just think he's one of those people. So best of luck to him. The Overlap's doing very, very well. YouTube chat's very glitchy today. Yeah, a few people have been moaning about that. I don't really know what that's all about. Do you think Xerxes is new scope gate for United? No, Ellie, I really don't. I am doing the Arsenal watch along, yes. Luke Carson says, do you think Livramento is underrated? I think he's a very good player. I think he's a very good player. I thought he looked good at Southampton, and I think he was formerly at Chelsea. Brandon says, could the United game be postponed tomorrow? The snow is meant to be 10 to 15 centimetres. I think it will. If the snow falls, I think it'll get called off. That's my prediction. But snow is very unpredictable. Thomas Tuchel in there. A little less conversation, a little more action, please. Brighton versus Arsenal, isn't it? I think if Arsenal come out of Brighton away and Brentford away with 6 points, you can't knock that. Be very impressive. Here we go. Kulusevski gets it stuck in his feet. I tell you what, Brighton will be very interesting at half-5 though, because I watched them play against Man City. They were very, very good. I think they had a terrible December, didn't they? I don't know whether they won a game. They were absolutely shit. So maybe it will be a nice win for Arsenal again today. Flick on, good defending again. Spurs have definitely defended better this half. They needed to. Could you do Gary Neville in a boxing match, mate? Says Darren. I actually probably would, but I wouldn't want to take Gary Neville on at anything because I think he's so driven and obsessed. I mean, he gets up at 4 o'clock, doesn't he? I think he would, if he took somebody on in a boxing match, I think he'd be like, it looked like Rocky in Rocky 4 in a month. He'd be up at 2 o'clock in the morning with Mark Wahlberg, He'd be eating 10 raw eggs a day. He'd have Eye of the Tiger on repeat. I think he's a very motivated individual. I don't know whether he's necessarily happy, but I think he's a motivated individual. Could you... Arsenal closing in on Kuna. Oh, Nelly, I tell you what. Arsenal don't need Kuna. Arsenal don't need Kuna. I mean, I don't want them to get Kuna, but I don't think they need Kuna. I think they need a striker. I think Kuna is not what they need. Who was your favourite footballer to watch growing up, says Aaron? I had a few. I mean, I like Zidane, but probably before that, Gascoigne. I used to love watching Gascoigne when I was a kid. Lee Sharp, people like that. I just love flair players. Neville's a plonker, says Vicky. Hey Mark, complaints of the season, says Grant. Thoughts on Maddison going to the darts whilst ill, says Goldio. That's Spurs' problem, not mine. Suns hold up play and fight. We see there is desperately needed at United. Experience of that level will help Rasmus, says Jeet. Thank you very much. Mark, my girl just said her father supports Liverpool while her mum and sister support United. When I meet him, I'll change him to a sword fight, says Liam. Why does Joel Linton wear his shorts like that, says Constantine. Another bad cross by Spurs. What's your thoughts on a player like Isak and his amazing ability? Do you think he should be playing for a bigger club, says Abdor? Well, no. I mean, I'm not going to disrespect Newcastle. They're fifth in the league. They've got an amazing support. They've got a good side. It's only like Ollie Watkins at Aston Villa last year. Do you need to go and play for a bigger club? I think the question is, could he play at a bigger club? And I think at a club like... I mean, you could see him in an Arsenal shirt. That's why he wears the number 14, isn't it? Henry. You could see him in an Arsenal shirt. You could see him in a Chelsea shirt. So he could play at a bigger club, but I don't think he necessarily has to. Yeah. All right, that's done. There we go. Luke Wilson mentioning Ivan Ferguson going on loan from Brighton. I mean, that will happen, but where he'll go, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought you'd be massively interested in sending him to a Premier League club. Joel Linton's finally been booked. Yeah. To be fair to the referee, that's a fair booking. Gary McEwen says, I'm a Liverpool fan and actually love the United stand. You're honest and straightforward, fair play. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Isak really suits Liverpool with Darwin leaving, says Max. Is Darwin leaving? I suppose he probably will. He doesn't get a lot of game time, does he? Maddison. Solanke. Oh. Son is down. He's saying that Joel Linton left his foot in. Referee's not seen it. And Son's up anyway. Scareface says Liverpool have confirmed that no striker is going. Slot wants all six. Who would you like? Here's a question for you. Who would you like me to collaborate with? Because there's a bit of a budget. There's a bit of a budget this year, so you know, I firmly believe that it's a joke how certain people get people on and don't pay them. So there is a bit of a budget there. So, if there's any good, Neville won't do it. Forget that. Go on then. Go on then. There's still only 15 minutes to go. Avril Lavigne. Dear me. Rio won't do it as well. Bottle job. Nathan. Micah Richards, maybe good. He'd be good. I don't know whether he'd do it, though. A lot of them would do it. They're just contractually not allowed to do it because Gary will tell them off, whether it's Neville or Lineker. This is good play. Son does keep it on. They're pushing Spurs. Oh, good defending there. Porro into Kulusevski. Give it to Porro. Blocked. Surely Spurs are going to get a chance here in the last 15. Need Goldbridge 4 tunes, says Tanish. They do a good job. Newcastle defending well here. Best outcome for United if it gets postponed, says John. Kulusevski, he's done well. Keeper's done it really well as well to get off his line. Cal the Dragon and his gnomes. Is he still doing those videos, Cal, in his back garden? I've got some more stuff with Loz coming up. He's back next week. Obviously, I'm doing stuff with Robbie as well. So we've got some good collabs going on. I am doing the Brighton Arsenal game at 5:30, A2. Eddie's biggest shortcoming is his lack of subs, says Alex Taylor. Top bloke Paul Merson, says Caitlin Derren. Gary Barlow. That'd be good. Bit of a sing-song with Gary. Joel Linton's injured here at the moment. Paul says the two most influential Garys in football and Goldbridge has pissed them off. I mean, it genuinely is true as well. I'd love to say it's not true, but they genuinely have a problem. If you didn't keep slagging Gary off, maybe he wouldn't want to work with you. Yeah, mate, look, I completely disagree with that. Get a thick skin. It's an opinionated arena that we work in, isn't it? Can Spurs blow the bloody doors off before the end, says Tom Grant. Well, I hope so. Otherwise, Robbie's got a bloody 1-0 lead on me already on win, lose or draw. I can't be having that. But Newcastle are defending very well here. What about Chelsea Palace Watchalong? No, mate, because then I'd be going through from like 12:15 till 7:30. I mean, that's ridiculous. And I know some people do it on Twitch. They can stream for 9 hours, but trust me, I'm more about... I can't be a hypocrite. I can't be talking about, you know, good entertainment in 2025 and shit content and then be saying, yeah, I'm going to stream with you for 8 hours. Like, I need a break. Nice ball. Solanke's first touch is shit. It really is shit. I've really seen it today. It's so bad. I think he's going to go back for a free kick on Maddison, which... I mean, if that's a foul on Maddison, it was a penalty on Gordon. Watch this. How was that a foul on Maddison, and then he didn't give a penalty on Gordon? And this is the inconsistency, isn't it? And he's booked Botman for it. That's incredible. How can you give a foul on Botman and then not give the penalty on Gordon? This ref's a bloody joke. And that's what pisses fans off, the lack of inconsistency. It's the inconsistency. Inconsistency. Kamara or Ali McCoist would be fun, says Jason Brown. I like Ali McCoist. Anyway, it's a good position for Spurs. I mean, it'd be bloody typical of the PGMOL if this ends up being 2-2 for another controversial goal. Gone for a corner this, 10 minutes to go. Son with the corner. He's gone short. Why are they not marking Maddison? Oh, I tell you what. It was a cross shot and it went wide. How close was it? Wasn't far off. Wasn't far off. I just get the feeling time might run out for Spurs here. Newcastle, as I said, have defended very well. Harvey Barnes is on now. Isak. Spence covers. Go home. Reach out to Roy Keane, says Mark. We reached out to Roy Keane years ago. And you know what? The price was eye-watering. Eye-watering. Son! Oh, he's got stuck behind him. Overlap. Solanke, lay it off. Kulusevski. This has got to be it. Johnson, why didn't you shoot, you twat? Why didn't you shoot, you twat? Why didn't Brennan Johnson shoot? You twat. I don't know what that's. And I did say, will Spurs get a big chance? Well, you might have just shot your load. Because that really should have been 2-2. I don't know why he doesn't shoot. Solanke lays it off to Kulusevski. Gives it into Johnson. No, that is the wrong ball. He tries to cross it. He's got to shoot. He's just got to blast it on the goal. Ali says, what about an Ollie interview? Too straight-laced. I don't think it would work. Mark, need more non-football content from you, says Krishna. I do want to do more of that. January's always a busy start to the year, though, because of so many games in January this year as well. There's no international break, is there? Not an international break. There's no, what do you call it? Winter break. So there's loads of games. It's the January transfer window, but yeah. Another corner for Spurs. Son, you got to go edge of the box there, and you needed to go quicker than that. Reguilon puts a cross in. Keeper's going to get that. No, he doesn't. But Newcastle need a bit of respite, Newcastle. And another stoppage here with 7 minutes to go. Yeah, I think the Carling Cup games will be quite interesting. Carabao Cup, whatever you want to call it. You know what? I reckon it bloody has as well. Oh, God. How selfish is that? I don't get people who do that, right? It's freezing cold. We've had the heating on this morning and the house was at a good temperature. They've gone out about an hour ago and they've turned the heating off. And I've been getting cold. So I've touched the radiator, it's off. This is a bad idea. If it's cold, get your heating on and then use your thermostat at a certain level. Don't turn it off again, because then you use a load more getting it back up to heat. Just keep it on. Ange will be the first sacking of 2025, says John. And Stevie J says, are you worried Ahmad will drop off after he signs his new deal like some players seem to, says Stevie J. I hope not. I don't know what Isak's doing here. The Irish guy, Jack Mate, Ian Wright, Cammy, says Shane B. Do you enjoy Jimmy Carr's comedy, says Accra. I don't mind Jimmy Carr, it's his laugh. I can't watch him. His laugh is just massively, massively off-putting. Have you spoken about Luke Littler yet? No, I haven't. I think as soon as Humphreys got knocked out, I knew he was going to win. I didn't even watch it. I watched little bits of it, but yeah, I mean, he deserves to win it. An amazing talent, and but to be honest, I didn't find it that interesting the last few rounds because I just think he's head and shoulders better than everybody else. No, look, some people are saying that his laugh is half of his act. I can't stand his laugh. I'm probably in the minority. Right, yellow card to Isak. What do we got left? We've got about 5 minutes plus stoppage time here. Mark Goldbridge, says Obi Morgan. I am going to go on Irish Guy's prediction show, Ordo. We've been talking for a couple of months. It's just about finding a time to do it. When's the next podcast out, Mark, says John. I only shower with new podcasts, so sooner they're out, the better. Monday, mate. We put a podcast out on Thursday. Just go to Spotify. Man United ruined my Christmas and our half-term Premier League report, me and Will. It's just not on YouTube at the moment. We're just doing it exclusively as a podcast because I think we tried the whole do it live on YouTube, and actually, I think it just works well as a podcast. So we're just doing it as a podcast at the moment. But it's on Spotify. Goldbridge Saves Football, back on Monday. Nice ball over the top. Liberamento does well. And so does Solanke that time. Some good hold-up play. Now it goes out to Spence. 88th minute. Newcastle have defended well. I've said that a lot. Can't wait for the Irish guy collab, says Timid. Kai says, thanks for covering the game. I usually can't watch you live because I work in South Korea. It's 11 PM right now. I wish I could watch more of your streams. I love that. That's football in 2025. Make sure you're subscribing, getting involved. This is why we do it. Let's Talk Football says, surely you make more money with the pod being on YouTube. It's not all about money, mate. There'll be about 10 added minutes, says James. Why do you know there's been 10 added minutes and I don't? David says, accidental handball in the build-up to a goal is not an offence, new directive. David, nobody is disputing the rule. We're just saying it's a thick twat rule that makes no sense and is completely contradictory. YouTube has a better UI. Please upload to YouTube. We're not putting it on YouTube because there's already content on YouTube and it just messes up with the schedule on the YouTube channel. So that's why it's a podcast. Commentator just said 10 minutes added on. Here's Harvey Barnes. It could be over if they get the third goal. Well, it would be. CS7 says, ain't nobody going to watch you on Spotify. Yeah, you don't watch on Spotify, mate. It's a podcast. It's audio. And we did 30,000 listens in 2 days. So I'm pretty happy with that for a podcast. Thanks. Oh, Spence. Good defending. Another loss for Spurs, though. WWE's coming to Netflix. I'll probably watch it a lot more now it's going to be on Netflix, you know. I think that's a very clever deal. Botman down for Newcastle. I think it's just cramp. Yeah. I've got a lovely pie for tea. McVitie's or digestive biscuits, says Tarwinder. Well, we've got an injury here. I tell you what, I don't really eat biscuits as much as I used to, but Christmas, oh my God. We got, I don't know whether I bought them actually. It was a cookie box selection, Foxes. Oh my God. They were unbelievable. It's not rabbit, you know, it's not a rabbit pie. Ever thought about doing Watchalong bingo, Mark? I don't know what that is, 100T. Botman's gone off here. I mean, surely he can't be injured again. Josh says Botman injured again. He's walking off, but he's a bit like Van der Ven, isn't he? He's a very good defender, but he's so injury prone. Might just be tired. I don't think he's necessarily injured there, but well, I guess we'll have to see if he's available for the Carabao Cup midweek. Hamilton says, Isak come to Arsenal. 10 minutes added on, yes. What happened to you and Will predicting the goal scorers? That was it was a good section. I don't know why we stopped doing that. Salah, Van Dijk, same money as Casemiro and Bruno, says Cats for life. It's terrible, isn't it? Gordon or Kuna to United as captain. Can I have both? They both suit the system really well. Gordon off the wide in a 3-4-3. And Kuna behind the striker. Would you do a collab with Molly May, says Arena? I'm not bloody Luke Shaw. Come on Spurs, here we go, come on. 7 minutes to go. The cross is bad by Porro that time. What a takedown by Kulusevski that is. Ooh, goal kick. Collab with Howard Webb. He'd never do it. Bloody house is freezing now. Fucking freezing. Should never have turned the heating off. It's going to take ages to heat up now. I'm Batman says, do you think Ange is done? If so, who should get him? I think your circumstance. Here we go. Harvey Barnes could finish it off. Good save. I think as a manager, your circumstances are so dictated to by the team that you're managing. I think if Ange was in charge of Man City, I think he'd do better. I think if Pep was in charge of Spurs, he'd do worse. So good managers can be sunk by situations. It's cold in the UK, yes, Sly Arrow it is. Snow on the way. My prediction for Chelsea and Palace is that I think I went with the draw there. I think Chelsea will drop points. It's going to be a loss for Spurs, this, isn't it? I think. That's a corner. Why did you let it go? Would you do an interview with Ryan Giggs? Yeah, I would. I think he might get a phone call from Gary saying don't do it. Could do a collab with David Coote once his NDA runs out. Builder says, why don't we have a single Indian player in the Premier League from a population of 1 billion? I mean, I think it's a good point, but I have asked this question before, and a lot of people watch this channel and United Stand from India. And basically, the general consensus was the reason there isn't any is because they're shit. Oh, header. Solanke, straight at the keeper. Not going to be your day. Yeah, that was, I mean, look, I think that's what you could, I think it would be more of an issue if India were qualifying for the World Cup and you didn't have any players in the Premier League. There might be something sinister going on there. But basically, I think it's, as Bogold says, because football isn't big in India in relation to the quality. I think a lot of people in India love watching football, but I don't think they're very good at playing it. I think Barcelona had didn't they have an academy there that they abandoned as well? I don't know. I think it will change, but look at China. China likes football, but they're not very good at it. I think it's an interesting conversation as to how long does it take for a nation to get good at football. Like Saudi Arabia want to be good at football, don't they? Look at Qatar in the World Cup. I think it takes time to build a culture around football. I'm going to go with a Brighton draw against Arsenal. I need to catch up on Robbie. Robbie went with the Newcastle win. I went with the Spurs win. 1-0 Robbie. I could be 4-0 down by the time I'm back with you at 5 o'clock. I'm going to have to see what we went for on the 3 o'clock games. I'm desperate for a wee as well. Piss, some might say. But yeah, look, thanks for everyone who's tuned in today. We are definitely, always have been, about saying it how it is with respect and not being abusive. And we're definitely going to push that forward on 2025. So if you've got controversial opinions or anything like that, get involved. As I said, I turned TNT on at 12 o'clock today. Joe Hart and a couple of ladies, I don't know their names, unfortunately. The most boring build-up to a game I've watched in a long time, and this just seems to be the norm. On Christmas, I'm watching classic films and classic sitcoms. Why are we not making good entertainment in 2025? This question needs to be asked. Why is everybody so passive in opinion? Why can't you have a controversial opinion as long as it's not disrespectful? Like, I'm turning TNT on, I'm paying them money, and your analysis of football is shit. It's boring. I'm putting the telly on at Christmas and I'm watching repeats because there's nobody making good content. Why? Why aren't people making good content? Why did Disney get hold of Star Wars and shit it out their arse? You know, why aren't people writing good content anymore? Are they scared? Are they doing it because they've got to, tick every single box? Like, why are people not making good content anymore? Say it how it is. There are people out there that are controversial and deserve to get called out because they cross a line. But I think there is a way you can have an opinion without being disrespectful. Saying I'd rather turn TNT on and see Gabby Logan with with Les Ferdinand and David Ginola is not offensive to Joe Hart and those two ladies on TNT today. I just think you three are really boring and shit, and I would rather have three better people. That's not sexist. That's not Joe Hartist. That's just honest. People want, we should... I grew up in the 90s. You had TFI Friday, you had Oasis, you had great football, you had great comedy, you had great film. Why in 2025 is it worse? What are we creating? Why is everything worse? We should be better than the 90s. The time is now. Pick up a guitar and write some good music. Write a good bloody film. I'm so tired of the way things are going. It's so grey. It's so fucking boring. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't say this. You can say that. You can. You can say, I turned TNT on today. There was 2 females and Joe Hart, and it was absolute shit. And it doesn't mean you're being sexist. It just means that they're shit. If it was Laura Woods, David Ginola, and Les Ferdinand, I'd be all over it. It would be brilliant. So it's got nothing to do with who it is. You can just say they're boring as fuck and the producers are twats. We've still not ended this game. But this is what you'll get on this channel. This is what you'll get. Proper conversation. I tell you what, will they be talking to you about that stupid handball rule as well? Or will they all just go, not worth it, we're all going to get paid at the end of the day, we're off air in half an hour? It's true. That should have been a penalty for Anthony Gordon, and it shouldn't have been a goal for Anthony Gordon from the handball. But they'll all just go, end of the day, we've all got other jobs to do. We don't want to rock the boat. I want to get invited next week, so I'm not going to say anything controversial. Joe Hart should be on that telly in 5 minutes saying the PGMOL are an absolute joke, another inconsistent decision that confuses football fans and ruins the game. He won't be sat there doing that. He'll be going, yeah, how do I get on next week? Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Anyway, the game's over. More live games like Salzburg. We're hoping to do more of that, 100T Frankie. What about David Beckham, says Vicky Scott? His best mates with Gary Neville. He was his best man. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Very good game for Newcastle. Another big win for Newcastle. Spurs, another loss. I mean, will Ange be here on Monday? It's just another loss for them, isn't it? It's terrible. Yeah, really bad. I suspect we'll be talking about Spurs on the podcast. But it's Brighton against Arsenal next. I'll be live with you in a couple of hours, so make sure you tune in for that. We'll have reaction to all the 5 o'clock games, all the 3 o'clock games. I'm going to be live at 5 as the full times come in for the 3 o'clocks as well. So we'll be talking about that for the first half an hour. Loving the response to what I was just talking about as well. So many people agree. Where's the entertainment in 2025? We've got to push for this. We've got to push for this. It's not controversial to have an opinion that's controversial but fair. We need to have more of these conversations, because otherwise we're just going to get swallowed up by the mediocre shit that we keep getting delivered. Not good enough. Take care. Speak to you all in a bit. Back at 5. Thanks for watching.